tap into a strong support network, form meaningful connections, and find inspiration for the startup journey ahead. Our personal chapter in Dubai started with 300 followers and has grown to more than 1,500 followers over the course of a year. To find out more information, you can visit us at StartupGrind.com or follow us on Twitter at StartupGrind. Many of you are familiar with Christine Soufaran, our chapter director. She sends her sincere apologies that she's not able to attend tonight's event. She's in New York because of other obligations. I'm Amelia, and I'll be your host this evening. I'm an alumni of this graduate school, and I'm an event planner for conferences and awards in the branding industry here in Dubai and New York. And tonight, I will be speaking with the Emirates Foundation CEO, Clare Woodcraft-Scott. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
The Emirates Foundation focuses on guiding, inspiring, and empowering youth in the UAE by addressing various challenges that young people face around their personal and professional development. Clare oversaw the foundation's transition from a traditional grant-making entity to one that is an early regional adopter of venture philanthropy. Prior to joining the Emirates Foundation, she was the deputy director at Shell Foundation and led Shell's social investment portfolio in MENA. She has over 20 years of experience working in the field of sustainable development. And as you might know, May is Female Founders Month for startup networks around the world, including Google, TEDx, and StartupGrind. To give everyone an outline of tonight's interview, because it is Female Founders Month, we will be integrating topics on female leadership into tonight's dialogue. And as always, we will reserve the last 10 minutes of the evening for Q&A, so please keep your questions until that time. Clare, I'd like to begin by asking you to share a bit about your career and how you ended up in Dubai and at the Emirates Foundation.
Sure, I'm going to do that. So again, thank you for inviting me. Thank you to all for taking out your time to come and listen to me. I hope I do that justice. Indeed, I have briefly been in the Middle East for about 20 years now. And the reason I came to the Middle East is because I studied languages in my undergraduate, and one of them was Arabic, so I'm an Arabic speaker. And I did my master's degree in development. So the combination of Arabic languages and being very interested in socioeconomic development and sustainability meant that you kind of inevitably end up in the Middle East. I spent the first part of my career working in development, so very traditional development with international donors, development organizations, NGOs and the like. I got very disillusioned with development and the traditional development community and decided that it was not impactful, accountable, or transparent enough. So I actually became a journalist, did that for 2 years, and then I flipped to the dark side and went to work in the corporate sector because I figured if concessional finance wasn't the way for me, then maybe corporate finance was the way to go. And I figured out that wasn't for me either, that there must be some kind of hybrid halfway house between the two. That was what I was looking for from a career perspective. So I ended up working for Shell Foundation, which is very much a hybrid model of taking all the principles of commercial organizations and business, but applying them to creating social impact and social value. So that's kind of in a nutshell, me. I'm very interested in, so both in cultural language issues and the way we communicate, so communications, particularly in the Middle East, but also I'm very interested in socioeconomic development and essentially what I always call it, the way the world works. And having ended up working with a very large, I was actually very shocked when I found myself applying for a job with Shell, because I think that was really my thing. But it was actually a fascinating insight into how the energy sector works. And I've always felt that, when I was a journalist, I was a financial journalist, I've always felt that if you are curious about the way the world works, it's good to have some insights into both how the financial sector works and how the energy sector works, because the two of them together have such a large influence on pretty much everything we do. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And I know you said questions at the end, but I'm happy to take any up front if there are any. Without wanting to disrupt more. Okay. Without disrupting is always good.
Okay, well, so do you feel that there are unique opportunities for startups in Dubai and the UAE? And what are they?
Well, I think there's unique opportunities for lots of things in the Middle East, and particularly in the UAE, because the UAE does tend to take a leadership role in other areas of development in the Middle East. I think, if I would say well, first of all, I should say I'm not per se a startup expert, so I haven't started up an organization, which probably disqualifies me immediately, but before you throw me out, I have worked extensively with looking at how the private sector can contribute to growth. So I have worked extensively with SMEs, and Emirates Foundation, we look at encouraging young people to become entrepreneurial. So, and at the Shell Foundation, we actually had, we created one of the largest SME startup funds in Africa called Growth. But coming back to the Middle East, what do I think the UAE specifically has? I think a lot of it, and it sounds a little intangible, is around energy and dynamism. So I think this is a very dynamic, it's a very fast-growing market, and it is a place where like-minded people come together. There's something quite distinct about UAE, particularly about Dubai. It's a very young population in general, even the expatriate population tends to be young. And I think what I would say is a place where there's this wonderful French saying, that citoyens du monde, citizens of the world, where you really don't feel particularly affiliated with one country or nationality. And I think people like that come together in Dubai. So I think there's a real opportunity of like-minded people thinking very innovative, thinking very progressively, and thinking in very new ways that you might not have in a more traditional economy. I mean, that doesn't mean to say there aren't challenges.
Well, that's the next question.
Okay.
So if people are the opportunity that's unique to Dubai, what is the unique obstacle for startups?
Well, I think you're no doubt all more familiar with these things than I am, but I think obviously Dubai is a maturing economy. The UAE, we should say, Dubai is quite obviously a maturing economy, but in all maturing economies, you do have challenges around dealing with the environment. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the way it can perhaps take more time to register a startup here than it can in other parts of the world. It can be more difficult to access capital. It can be more difficult to navigate the regulatory environment. It can be, well, it can be sometimes, if you're not from here, and of course the vast majority of people in UAE are not originally Emiratis, it can be challenging navigating the socioeconomic and political climate of the UAE.
Do you have a suggestion on how to navigate that when you are coming in without experience here?
Yeah, I'd love to say this is one thing you can do. No, I think, look, I think like any market, and for any of the work I've done with SMEs, you've got to know your market, right? You guys all know that. You've got to know your market. So I always say to our private sector partners at Emirates Foundation that, you do need to understand the UAE, and you need to understand local community and local politics and local development and local social issues. I mean, it's too easy to be an expat here and to be completely oblivious to the actual indigenous community. So I do think that's very important. But I think like any startup, anywhere in the world, you can never do too much research. You can never do too much market analysis. You can never do too much competitive analysis. So I mean, of course, you need to check your product and your service that you're offering. But I think it's also very easy for people come to the UAE and say, look, it does kind of various parts look and sound like Manhattan, but institutionally, it's not. There are differences here, and you do need to understand that you are working in an Arab market. This is not, although it does look like a very mature market. There's still institutional development underway. So I think know your market and do try and understand what is it that local Emiratis are looking for in terms of their country's development. What kind of businesses are they going to be able and happy and willing to inherit and promote? It's the year of innovation this year, as we know from Russian who announced that earlier. So I think it's important to not simply assume that you can bring an international business model here or franchise whatever that without understanding the UAE, even if you don't necessarily, if you're not Emirati, you need to understand the local market.
Okay, speaking of not being Emirati, you're one of the only members of the Emirates Foundation senior management and board of directors that is not an Emirati. So why were you selected to be the CEO of this organization?
Well, I like to think of myself as an honorary Arab, so maybe that helps. Well, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East, 20 odd years in the Middle East, and because I'm an Arabic speaker, I mean, I do use Arabic all day long. My day job is in Arabic, and I think that helps hugely in the sense that means that I can have a depth of communication and a level of trust that perhaps perhaps is not quite the same if you don't speak Arabic. But look, you have to ask the board why they hired me, but I'd like to think that it was a combination of my commitment to vision, my passion for effective philanthropy. I really have an aversion to low impact social investment, low impact philanthropy. Sometimes I think it's almost better doing nothing rather than creating low impact or liability creating philanthropy. But I think, I'd like to think that they also were interested in me as a candidate because I came from Shell Foundation. And I think the Shell Foundation has pioneered a model that really combines the best of everything that's good about startups. So it's innovative, it's pioneering, it's disruptive, but also everything that is good about established large businesses in terms of systems, process, procedures, value creation, and being able to measure that.
Okay, so then what interested you to switch over to the Emirates Foundation?
Well, the opportunity for me was that the foundation's board had decided they wanted to review the strategy. And I was actually familiar with the foundation from my earlier days when I was at Shell, when we were a corporate partner to the foundation. And I was personally very interested in how foundations can move from the traditional sort of check writing model to something that's much more systemic and long-term and strategic. So the opportunity for me was basically, I was told that the board was interested in creating a new vision and a new business model for the organization, and that they were going to empower me to do that. And well, that's what they did. They basically, I came and said, look, I have lots of ideas about how the foundation could look, and I'm familiar with it, and I'm familiar with new ways of doing social investment and philanthropy, which involved pretty much, deconstructing and rebuilding the foundation in its entirety. But I think there was also a huge amount of support from the board that they wanted something new, they wanted something different, they wanted something more impactful, they wanted something, that was going to be a pioneering model.
Okay, so speaking of change, Dubai is making efforts to increase workplace gender equality, and movements like the minimum of 40% of directors being female on boards. So where do you see female leadership in Dubai going in the future?
Well, I suspect you're all familiar with the whole story of how everybody says how well the Emirati women are doing, and they're doing better than the guys, and I think we need to be a little bit careful in some forums that we don't overplay how spectacular Emirati women are. They are spectacular, and the poor guys go, hey, how about that? So I think there has been an almost ironic, empowerment of women that I think is great and is really encouraging. Even today, I just came today we had a recognition ceremony with our chairman, Sheikh Abdullah, for top talent in the STEM sector in the UAE. And out of a bunch of Emirati boys and girls, it was the girls that actually kind of won more prizes than the boys. So I think there is a wonderful dynamic here going on in the UAE where women are being pushed to the forefront by leadership. And women are being extolled as being particularly capable and competent. And I think, we see that in terms of various leadership roles for women, both inside government organizations and inside the private sector. You've got lots of women in the private sector, Fatima Jabber, lots of powerful, iconic women, Emirati women there. Now, does that mean that the challenge has been overcome? No. I think women globally are still not recognized as a hugely powerful way of ensuring that your organization has both longevity and can manage risk. I just think there's a problem if everybody making a decision within a board, executive committee, or even an organization, all come from the same background, all are the same gender, all have the same socioeconomic educational history. There's a problem. Whether or not it's about gender, it's about managing your risk, because people from the same background tend to have the same opinion and the same outlook. So I think it's hugely important that women and other forms of diversity, be it race, ethnicity, etc., are brought into organizations and systematically recognized as good for business and best practice, fair practice, ethical practice. I still haven't said that I think there is great progress here in the UAE. There's still a huge amount to be done. some of her counterparts in the US that have talked about, Jennifer Lawrence is another one, sorry, just like celebrity. But a lot of powerful women come out recently and said, even as highly successful celebrities, we're not paid as much as men. But I think that's much more important and much more basic levels of society that even in organizations where I've worked, women often don't know that they're not paid as much as men. And that's important. And I think also, so I think women need to be empowered financially. They need to be paid the same amount if they're doing the same job. And I think they need to be empowered to ask those questions. I mean, what I have to pay compared to men. I think they need to be on boards. They need to be more CEOs. And I think that women's networks need to be doing more to promote those things. I see a lot of, get invited to a lot of women's networks, and we often talk about, a lot of things like how do you make sure women have the right support, the right facilities, and I'm always saying, let's just get women on boards. Because if you get women on boards, you actually solve a lot of the other problems. If you have female decision making, be it on a board actually or any other level of an organization, then it's much easier to get the maternity care or the creche facilities or whatever else it is. But I think sometimes there needs to be more focus when women come together to talk about how we empower at all.
How important do you feel that women's networks like Elevate, for example, are, especially in this region?
I think women's networks are very important, but I think they have to be focused. So I often, and they have to have men in them as well. It's great when you have a bunch of women talking about their challenges and we all agree with each other, but of course we agree because we're converted. So I think it's really important to have men in women's networks. And then to stay focused and to have an objective, because women will network anyway, right? Girls, we like to hang out and chat with each other, so we don't need networks just to connect, So I think women's professional networks need to do much more than connect. They need to have an objective, they need to have a goal. And
so are you a member of any? And what is it that brings you to that network?
I participated in various women's networks. I was involved in the establishment of the GCC chapter of WCD, which is Women Corporate Directors, which is a US network, which is particularly interesting because they do exactly that. They're called Women Corporate Directors. They say, look, we're going to connect for lots of reasons, but actually we're here to create women corporate directors. So they are very focused on getting women onto boards and women into the C-suite. And as I said, that's my particular favorite. But I am involved in various other ones, and I'm often asked to talk about, women at the level of corporate. So Shell has a female women's network that I'm involved in.
So I recently read an article on the confidence gap between men and women, and how men generally overestimate their competency and women generally underestimate their competency. What is your perspective on this confidence gap?
Yeah, I think again, it's an empowerment issue. I think absolutely it exists. I see it, and I've seen it in my own career where, I apply for jobs, think, oh, maybe I might be lucky enough to get it. And the guys are like, male counterparts who you can experience is like, it's going to be a lot. And whether that's about how we empower women both domestically and in the public sphere, I don't know. But I think yes, there is an issue about women having the confidence. And I guess part of it is in the workspaces, if you are a minority, inevitably your confidence gets impacted by that at some point. But I think we need to do more to encourage women to have faith in their qualifications and have the courage to. Because that can be done through various ways. I mean, I do think that mentoring is a very powerful, very important way of doing it. I think mentoring, despite the fact that there's a huge amount of noise about it at the moment, is still sadly lacking. I was actually having a conversation with a lady 2 days ago, or last week actually, and we have a mentoring program at Emirates Foundation, and we're constantly trying to sign up senior executives to come on board. And this lady and I were talking about how important mentoring is for youth, never mind for women. And I said to her, how many people do you actually know have a mentor? So I've never had a mentor. And she had a particularly powerful experience. She used to work at Schlumberger, and she said Schlumberger does a really good job of mentoring. But I said, I worked with multinational organizations, and I've never had a mentor. And of my peers, when I think around me, my peers, other women that I know have been successful in the workplace, I don't know if them have mentors. So I think there's a lot of talk about mentoring, but whether it actually happens or not, I'm not sure. If it does happen, it can be, I think, life-changing. So, and I think that's one way that we can help women to really have that confidence. Because I think there's something powerful about having another woman say, yeah, actually, I was in a very male-dominated industry. It was really difficult, but this is how I got through.
We have a lot of younger women in this audience. Do you have suggestions on them on finding a mentor?
Get a mentor. Get a mentor as soon as you can.
But how do you open that dialogue?
Well, I think, look, you need to, I would say, you've got to have a mentor that you want. And so, in one of my jobs, I was offered 2 mentors, and the 2 mentors that I was offered were, one said that he wasn't interested in being my mentor. So like, thanks a lot, but I don't really want him to be my mentor because he doesn't want to mentor me. That's not gonna work. And the other one was actually junior to me, both in age and experience. So that was maybe I lost an opportunity there, but I also wasn't really comfortable with that. So I think don't wait for an organization to give you a mentor. Go out and find somebody who inspires you, who, and that's usually important. You know, I mean, you've got to really, you've got to want to be mentored as well. You know, there's no point doing just for the sake of doing it. So find somebody who inspires you, and then get to that person. And getting to people is a lot easier than you think. You know, figure out who surrounds that person, who do you know, and that person will know somebody you know. And eventually, through your peers or your family or your friends, you can get to them. And I think most senior successful people will make time to mentor. But I think the onus is on the individual. And I wish I'd done that about 20 years ago. So, you know, who's somebody that I really look up to and aspire to, and how can I get that person to
So, do you feel it has to be within their same profession or
Oh,
industry?
no, absolutely not. No, not same profession, not even the same gender, nothing, you know. It's thrown up in the air and see what falls. I think it's, no, the only criteria, I think, is that you have to be inspired by that person.
Okay. And so, now that you are a CEO of a national foundation, do you still feel it yourself that sometimes you're an imposter or you doubt that you should be where you are? And how do you work through this due diligence?
I would like to say imposter. Sounds a little strange, but no, I think you always have. I think if you don't have self-doubts, you kind of either you end up becoming arrogant or lulling yourself into a sense of security. So I think I'm always thinking, how can I do my job better? How can I learn more? How can I grow more? How can I support young people more? How can I support the community more? I think you can never, you can never learn enough, right? Yeah, I'd like to think that I don't have too many doubts about my capability of doing this job, since I've been doing it for 3.5 years now, since we've been doing okay. But I think it would have been helpful to have a mentor, and I'd still like a mentor, so if there's any potential candidates, please let me know.
Earlier you spoke about the importance of diversity on teams. Going back to startups, how important do you find it is for the success of that startup being dependent on having the right people on their initial team?
No, absolutely. I mean, I would say, and although I haven't set up a startup, I have got a very robust business plan, which I will deploy someday. And I absolutely people. So you cannot, I mean, this is the age of talent, right? 21st century is about talent, deploying talent, and leveraging the digital revolution. So if you don't have young, inspired, you don't have inspired people who are committed, who are dedicated, who are, and we don't even know what skill sets are these days. I mean, if you're in a certain sector, you don't necessarily need people who have studied that sector. It's about having people who can problem solve, who can leverage the digital revolution, who are energized, who are going to bring something new to your organization. So I think absolutely hugely critical, because one of the principles that we deployed at Shell Foundation when we created social enterprises from scratch is all we looked at was people. Who are the entrepreneurs? Because these were people without collateral, without any capital assets behind them. So you would be amazed at how much that accounted for. It's the entrepreneurs coming to us for initial seed capital, were inspiring, knew what they were talking about, had skin in the game in some form, had track record. So not necessarily had capital, but had done something in the past that showed that they were capable of delivering. Then, so I think it's all about people and about diversity. So if I were to start my own business, absolutely, I would, and in the few instances where I have been looking to go down that direction, that's been my first port of call. Who would I partner with? And how would I test that relationship first? You've really got to do due diligence on the people you're working with. And have diversity.
So what things should entrepreneurs look for in people when they're trying to find people to be on that team to form it?
Well, I think you've got to have a common alignment around partners, it's probably not as impactful as if you develop it with other people. By developing a business plan and a vision and a mission with people you're going to work with, you pretty soon figure out if everybody's on the same page or not. I mean, when I look back again at Start Foundation, when we had multiple social entrepreneurs that we had angel invested in, the ones that came unstuck were the ones that had partner issues. And the ones that went on to be super successful were either ones that had chosen their partners well, or were a sole entrepreneur that had a vision and then had built a team around them. So I think it's, you know, it's like marriage, right? You've got to be, I don't know, what is it? My ex-boss used to say, you plan the divorce with the wedding or something. You say online, but you know, you've got to, whoever you partner with, you've got to start thinking about, you know, is this going to work or not? And if it doesn't work, then what's going to happen? So I think the initial, because when you're a small entity, you don't have room for dead wood. You don't have room for partner, you know, conflict. When you work with a large multinational, you've got 100,000 people, you've got room for conflict and the like. But I don't think you do as a startup.
So especially in the beginning, when the finances are tight, and you need people to be passionate and highly motivated and dedicating a lot of time to the startup, what suggestions do you have to keep those people motivated and passionate?
Well, again, I think it's the same answer. It's the due diligence. You know, you've got to get people on board that from the outset are with you because they see your vision. You know, we use the word vision sometimes, you know, in a slightly a superficial way, but having spent a lot of time working on the vision of Emirates Foundation and having used it, the process of creating that vision to bring a team together that was fragmented before, I see how powerful an aligned vision can be. And to me, the vision is just about why. So why are we doing this? Not the how or where or the what. The vision is why. So if you're an entrepreneur and saying, I want to create X product, service, offering, why? What's the value of it? Why are you doing this? You need to let people come forward on the how you'll figure it out later, how we actually go manufacture or build or sell or market. But I think if you don't have alignment with your either your team or your partners around the vision, you're always going to struggle.
Okay. And then did you ever consider starting your own?
Yeah, well indeed. So I have a startup. I have a startup business plan. It's in my head. I have even done some initial due diligence around it, and yeah, maybe.
So what is it that holds you back from starting it now? What are you waiting for then?
I think you have to, well, you guys can answer this question better than me. I think you probably know when the time is right. I feel like heading in that direction, but not quite there yet.
Okay. In February, we spoke with other entrepreneurs that started a car sharing service here, and their advice is kind of the opposite to when you have the idea, just go with it because you're going to have to fix it along the way anyway. So the sooner you can bring it to the market, the better. So what is
Yeah, well, I think the idea, but for me, it's more about the vision. So the idea, yes, the business model, sure, you're going to run with it, but I think it's about getting the people right. So I don't think you can get the people right unless you fleshed out the idea enough to really know whether you're on the same page. But again, it's to hear from examples from the audience, people who are already doing it.
Okay, so what have you seen to be a leading reason why startups fail, especially in Dubai?
Cash flow. Simple cash flow. I mean, I think there's, you know, this is not a low-cost environment to set up startups, and cash flow is a global thing, of course, not just in Dubai. But you need to be able to manage your cash flow, and you need, you know, commercial acumen and financial acumen to do that. It's one of the reasons we have a financial literacy program. But it's not an easy thing. I mean, it's doable, but you need to keep that high on your radar to be the answer.
Okay, so then with all the capital that is available in Dubai, why do you think it is so tough to launch a VC firm here or have a strong investment network for startups in this region?
Well, I think you know, to have VC, you kind of need, the intellectual property and R&D environment of a Silicon Valley. I think that's important. You've got to have a level of innovation and new ideas and experience of how you take new ideas into a business model. And Dubai is building on that. But as yet, you don't have a particularly entrenched culture of R&D. So I think that's part of the problem. The Secondly, you've got to have a culture of failure, of being able to invest in something, it failed, but it's okay, we learned and we moved on. And I think there's a big acknowledgement of that now. I mean, there's a lot of events that I go to where we talk about this need to recognize failure as an important way of learning, but we're not quite there yet. And I think that's probably what's pulling back on the whole VC enterprise drum.
Okay. And so as a CEO of Emirates Foundation, in general, what is your opinion on incubators, accelerators, venture capitalism, angel investors, and bootstrapping?
I think all good. I think I just came from our events today where we had a competition for young scientists, and we're now trying to connect them. So we asked a bunch of young Emirati kids, both at schools and universities, to come up with new ideas around science and technology. We had the winning ceremony today where we recognized them, and they came up with some amazing ideas about new ways of generating energy, of recycling, of saving water, really innovative stuff. And they all then need support. So what we are now doing, and today we secured that, getting support from our private sector partners, be it Total was one of them, ADNOC was another, or even Khalifa Fund, for everything, from technical assistance, mentoring, of course capital. But I think sometimes we think capital is the only thing that people need, and I think any kind of technical input, technical assistance, and just helping them with basic business plan is hugely important. So anything that's incubating or angel investing or taking a risk, providing the expertise. I mean, if you do a global research on SMEs, 85% of them fail, blah, 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 all that stuff. But most of it's because they don't have sufficient business acumen and the cash flow thing. And those are things that you can bring to a startup. So I think incubation in life is hugely important.
What has been your hardest day as CEO of the Emirates Foundation, and why?
I would say it's probably, there would be many, but probably day one, to be honest. So if I look back on day one, I joined the organization. There hadn't been a CEO for several months. The former CEO had left. There'd been this kind of vacuum. So you can imagine you have this sort of headless organization for several months. They had been told a new person's coming, there's a new business model. They had McKinsey running around doing a bunch of strategy stuff, and they're mainly Arabs. They're from the region. They see this English girl shows up, says, "Hey, we're going to overhaul the organization to something completely different. You okay with that?" And they're, "Yeah, we've heard that before." It's literally what one said to me. We heard that before. So I had to very quickly establish my credibility, that the direction of change was the right way to go, and that I could really deliver on this. So I think it was probably day one, but I'm still here.
Okay, as a female CEO, and especially since we have some students and young professionals in the room, what is one thing that you wish female professionals would stop doing, and one thing that you wish they would start doing?
Gosh, I should set those up front. Stop doing. Okay, stop networking for the sake of networking and actually have an objective to be networking. Be really focused about your networking because we network anyway. Or stop and start doing. Start having, easier said than done, having faith and confidence in yourself and putting yourselves out there for roles or opportunities that you may think, oh, I'm not really sure I'm qualified for that. Doesn't matter. Apply anyway. The guys do.
What are 3 takeaway points of advice that you'd like to share with the entrepreneurs in the room today?
I do think this people thing is important. So partner with the right people, get the right 3 things. Okay. So people in general, so get the right mentor, get the right person that inspires you, get the right people you're going to work with. People, get the right people. 2, cash flow, especially in UAE, there may be areas people might not pay you on time, cash flow. So make sure you have a backup plan for that. Either some very energetic accountant who's going to go and chase everybody for payment, or find some way of managing that cash flow issue. And sadly, it probably does mean you need more capital behind than you might otherwise have, or a very friendly bank that's going to give you an overdraft, whatever. But the cash flow issue that is challenging elsewhere, I think becomes even more challenging here. And three things. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe again go back to people's day. I mean, I think get a senior mentor for your business. So if you're a startup, in fact, don't get a board day one, because it's always going to be a nightmare to handle. Not my board, because my board is wonderful, but some boards can be a nightmare. But get somebody senior advisory, somebody who's been in the UAE for a long time, who's doing everything. It doesn't matter if it's not connected with your business. And go and sit with them and say, okay, how do I survive? How do I do this well? What kind of links do I need? What kind of relationships do I need? What kind of stakeholder? Who are my stakeholders? You just get some really good advice from someone who's been around for a long time. And I mean, ideally, Emirates, even if that person has nothing to do with the area of business you're going into. I think, I've always done this in my career, especially where I've gone into jobs that I probably wasn't qualified for. Hopefully that wasn't the case with this one. But I remember when I became a financial journalist, I mean, I actually didn't have a financial background, and suddenly I was the finance editor of a regional oil and gas magazine, and I was absolutely petrified because I really wasn't qualified for the job, but managed to get it anyway. But I was really good at finding super smart people who didn't know what they were talking about, and totally relied on them. So I was like, okay, these are all the things that I don't know, but that's okay. Let me go and find people who do know about all those things and learn. So I think never be afraid to learn and find, surround yourself by smart people, and you really can't go far wrong.
Is there a female entrepreneur or leader in Dubai that you particularly admire and see making big impacts in the region? And what is she doing?
Look, I think there are a lot, and sorry that's something to cop out, but no, there are a lot. I mean, there's you have iconic figures. You have like Gundersen-Herman in Saudi Arabia. You have people like Fatma Zahra here, Rajal Gur, Monal Gur. I mean, you have women like Sheikha Lubna, who's been an entrepreneur in her time. I think there are actually there aren't a lot. I think they exist here, absolutely. And perhaps the problem is the ones I cite are ones that are overly cited. And I think there are a lot more up-and-coming ones that we find. Bring them out of the woodwork and showcase them and promote them and develop them.
Then what is it about those women that you did just list that draws you to them? What is it about them that you do admire?
Well, A, the fact that they have managed to survive and thrive in a male-dominated environment. And B, I suspect, although I don't know their personal stories too well, on our board, but I suspect that they've done a good job of getting people, mentors, getting more senior people around them to support them and help them. And I think that's probably why they are so well recognized. But clearly there must be, there's 350 million people in the Arab world, so there must be a lot more successful entrepreneurs. And part of the problem, I think we overly cite the ones that are well known, and now I'm doing it myself. I go to a lot of enterprise conferences, and everybody talks about Fadi Landour. Fadi Landour is an amazing entrepreneur from the region. He did a wonderful job with Emirates, promotes startup. But when I say to people, there's Fadi Landour, and there's 350 million Arabs. There must be more than one highly successful entrepreneur. And I think in the region we're not very good at finding all the others. And I think we should. I think there is a huge amount of talent in this region. The Middle East is particularly young. 50% of those 350 million are under the age of 30. And, we have some amazing Arab talent globally. Steve Jobs was an Arab. And there are many more examples from the region that we need to showcase and promote.
Okay. Is there any advice that you can give entrepreneurs for attaining partnerships and press coverage and customers in the region?
For retaining. Attaining partnerships?
Yeah, for our startups out here.
And press coverage and?
And customers.
Okay, that's kind of everything.
Yeah.
How to do everything online.
Be no one.
Okay. Next speaker. How to obtain partnerships, press coverage, and clients. Well, A, have something people want. I mean, so market-based approach, I think, is hugely important. And we take that approach in philanthropy. So none of our programs are built without money. So we're helping, supporting youth, young people. But, too much philanthropy surmises. We don't surmise. We go out to market and say, so we have, for example, a financial literacy program. We went out to market, do young people actually want to be financially literate? Is it actually a problem? Turns out, yes, it is, so it's good to have a financial literacy program. But I see too many businesses, and my mother, by the way, is a wonderful lady and a startup entrepreneur, but and has had a lot of failed businesses, perhaps not enough successful ones. And I always see with her that she's a very passionate businesswoman, but she would never acknowledge the market. So if a product was a service, she said, these people don't understand my business. These people don't understand, they're just not visionary enough, and they don't get it. And I think that can often be, and the same thing happens in philanthropy, by the way. People go, this is what poor people in Africa want and need, right? Let's send it. No, do some research, understand what the community or the customer wants, make it market-based. Because it's wonderful for you to have the best idea and for you to personally believe that this is an amazing product or service. But if the market doesn't want it, then no amount of you selling it is going to work. And the same thing applies for PR and media and coverage. It's all about perception. It's not necessarily about the reality. So make sure you understand the market, that you have a product or service that people actually want, and that you are selling it in a way that resonates with people and in a way that they can understand. Notwithstanding the fact that many entrepreneurs, including probably Steve Jobs, would say that people actually don't know what they want. So the caveat being that there's a very contradictory environment in enterprise.
Okay, and then is there anything else that you would like to share, any message you'd like to communicate before we open up for questions?
No, I'm dying to hear from everybody else and to hear what they're up to. And for those of you that are startup entrepreneurs, well done. Go for it, and don't be put off by the challenging, enabling environment here. I do think that the opportunity can override that, and that events like this and forums like this will be hugely important to help you.
Okay, so any questions? Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the funding environment for social enterprise employees, because I'm a founder of a media startup, and we've raised 3 rounds using traditional investment kind of lines, and we're a social enterprise. And it's been uniquely challenging because obviously your growth rates are lower, sales are lower, and all of that. And I think talking to my other friends that have tried similar things and they haven't been successful, I feel like there is this kind of gap between like the grant and then kind of traditional investment. And I think it's, what I try to do is kind of mix the grant with that, but I think it is a challenging space here. I didn't know if you had any advice.
Yeah, because it's still a very nascent market for social enterprise. And, when I was at Shell Foundation, we had this we always had this challenge, sourcing. So we provided startup grant finance, and then said, there's a huge lack of patient capital, of course, that's well known. And of course, you can't access commercial capital when your returns are much lower than your commercial counterparts because you are looking at social impact. So, look, unfortunately, I don't have an easy, piece of advice for you on that. It is difficult. We at Emirates Foundation are promoting looking into legislation for social enterprise, which is maybe not quite so relevant here because of the fiscal environment, but we are at least saying to various government entities, let's at least have a better understanding of what a social enterprise is all about, facilitating the cost side of things. So if there were a better way to provide, registration and initial facilities for social enterprises that was less costly than a commercial entity, that would be good. And they are looking at that now. So the Office of the PMO, the Premises Office, are looking at legislation. There's a whole big piece of work going on in the UAE at the moment around social enterprise. There is strong recognition that the current enabling environment is not as good as it could be. Now, is anything going to happen tomorrow? I doubt it. But so I think everything's heading in the right direction, but it's a nascent market. And it's short of you relocating to the UK or the US where you have much better recognition and facilities for social enterprises. It's not an easy one, but I think if you are obviously already sourcing 2 kinds of capital, you're getting grants and you're getting access to commercial finance.
Yeah, so we raised 5 million traditional and then 2 million.
Wow. Well, I would just say, well done. You're doing an amazing job, and whatever you're doing, stick at it. But be reassured there is a growing, about Social Entrepreneur Week. There's Social Enterprise Week that happens now in Dubai every year. So there are various social enterprise forums now that are starting to come to fruition, which I would urge you to be part of, because I think you can become part of the ecosystem. Then I'm happy to
actually have 2 questions. In regards to your mother, and please send her my love.
Thank you. I will do.
You mentioned that she failed
Mhm.
a lot of times, and she still had the mentality that people do not understand my vision.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of go back to that. Do you change the vision or change the idea? And did she ever get it where?
Well, the irony was when she ended up doing businesses where she had specific expertise, she did well. So when she focused on her core expertise, she did well. It was where she was, I guess the intellectual property or idea was coming from somewhere else. And maybe that's a lesson in and of itself, that you really need to do your product or service or business or vision has to be part of you, has to be something you are personally very competent and passionate and committed to. I mean, she did a whole bunch of sort of random off-the-shelf products, I'm going to build a business out of this, which wasn't actually her own initial idea. And I think that's always a danger. So do you change the vision, or I think, you need to just hone the vision, hone the product, make sure it's part of you, because you become the brand, right, ultimately, as a startup. It's not like you have, you're like a shell, 100,000 people in a big corporate culture. It's just you and a few other people you're working with. You are the brand, you have to live it. So make sure it's part of your DNA. And so when I look at the business that I will set up one day, it's going to be all ultimately about my personal experience and expertise.
Okay.
I'm not going to go off and set up, a factory for making, multiple people. I'm not going to do something completely outside my expertise, because then you don't have, and that's a bit like, when companies do social investment that's away from their expertise. When companies go, I'm going to go and build schools rather than invest in an area that relates directly to my area of business. So I think, consolidate expertise, branding, passion, all into one focus.
My second question. Yeah, try to sneak all that in there, but I'll be quiet. Okay, now, in my opinion, in my business, I'm a makeup artist, so failure is an option. Because that is how I learn, and I actually like what you said. However, I once upon a time had a mentor who, it just didn't work out. And when you were talking about people and getting the right mentors, failed partnerships. Now, I have grown as a makeup artist now in comparison to when I had this mentor. But at what point in time, or is it wise to return back to a failed partnership, knowing that time has passed?
Yeah, I think if you both acknowledge the learning. So failure is good to learn, right? Failure for the sake of failure is actually not a good thing. But why do we like failure? Because you learn from it. So if you were to go back to your partner and say, well, look, that was a bit of a mess, but hey, thanks because you helped me learn X, Y, Z, and your partner said, well, me too, I actually learned X, Y, Z, then absolutely, because I think there could be hugely powerful, asset creation there in that space. And between the two of you, you create something new. But if you go back to your partner and he or she says that it was all your fault, you were wrong, stay away.
Hello, thank you very much for sharing your experience. I have a question regarding the activity of the foundation. And since I'm here for only 2 weeks, I want to know more about what are the concerns and challenges of the youth here, and if there are any problems related to the education system.
Well, after 3.5 years, I can confidently tell you that the concerns and challenges of youth in the UAE are exactly the same as the concerns and challenges of youth everywhere. I sum them up as what we do is helping young people navigate the 21st century. I think we have what the founder of Ashoka calls an exponential speed of change. The digital revolution has created an exponential speed of change, which means we don't even know what the jobs of the future are, we don't even know what the skill set of the future needs to be. We tell young people you need to be changing your skill set every 2 years. You're probably going to change your job every 2 years. You're probably going to have a commoditized electronic platform for engaging in the labor market already, in a few years' time. So I think we live in a very complex, fast-changing world that our education system is not preparing young people for. Essentially, our education system globally, notwithstanding a few examples like the Khan Academy, is analog. So we are expecting young people to learn through an analog education system and then survive in the digital world. And I think there is a fundamental contradiction there that we need to look at. So what we did as Emirates Foundation is we then picked off certain areas where we felt that youth were particularly challenged. financial literacy is one version. You know, we are not equipping young people to have the commercial business and financial acumen that they need to both run their personal finance and if they want to be entrepreneurs. So we talk about all these young Arabs becoming entrepreneurs, but if you can't read a balance sheet or manage your cash flow, you're not going to succeed as an entrepreneur. If you can't, you know, manage your own personal finance, if you have 10 credit cards, you probably have a problem, you know. So I think you'd be surprised how people have 10 credit cards. So I think, so that was one of the areas we picked up. Now, is that an Emirati specific thing? No, it's not. Most young people everywhere, adults, even, none of us are properly equipped when we leave the education system to cope with a complex financial sector. You know, we take on board products like mortgages and ISAs and all kinds of savings products and accounts that we don't really understand. So that was one thing we did. So we have a financial literacy program. We have, for example, we said there's not enough community engagement with young people these days. They often feel isolated or disconnected. So let's set up volunteering programs to reconnect with the community, to help grow their confidence, to help build these links with being a purposeful, productive member of society in isolation of your job or whether you're getting paid. So volunteering is we have a big STEM program, where I came from today, you know, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because too many young people are not studying, shockingly, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, even though that's clearly where the future lies. And we have a dearth here, but it's the same in all the rest of the world. Less and less young people choosing science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So we have a program around that. So our programs are all around picking off those core challenges where we think there's not enough being done, where there's a gap in the market. We create a solution in the form of a program, and then we turn that program into a social enterprise. So it's a long-term perspective. So we really believe in long-term systemic change. So we run each of our programs with a view to securing income. So when I say I've experience with startups, I actually have 6 startups inside our foundation, but so maybe I do. But we run each one as a small business. So we're looking now, at the moment they're each grant funded by the mothership, the foundation, but over time we want them to be self-sustaining and spin them off outside of the Emirates Foundation. That is the model of venture philanthropy. But going back to your point of what we're doing for young people, so we're basically trying to help them have the level of personal and professional development they need to survive and thrive in an increasingly complex and highly connected world.
Thank you.
And the programs are online, so we don't know specifics of the programs, just go online. Emirates-Foundation.ae.
Yeah. It's so important for women entrepreneurs to align their powers and their passions. That's the only way we can make a dent in the universe. How are you doing that, Claire, every day? What are your powers? What are your passions, and how are you using them?
Good for me, that's a simple question. I don't know, I've never thought about that. But I think that for me, I am, maybe I'm very fortunate, or you know, sometimes say I'm lucky, maybe I engineered it, I don't know. But I'm very passionate about what I currently do. I'm very passionate about philanthropy. I'm very passionate about deploying philanthropic capital in a way that is effective. So I'm very passionate about making sure that in this space, people deploy money in the same way as they would in the commercial space. That it's really focused, that it actually creates real value. And that's what I'm doing in my day job. And I guess that gives me a certain voice, because I've had a fair amount of experience in that sector. And I'm very passionate and interested in the Middle East, in our world, in Arabic, and I'm living in the Middle East, surrounded by Arab friends and colleagues. So I guess I've now finally, at this stage of my life, consolidated everything where I can say I'm in the right place at the right time and I'm doing all the things that I am particularly interested in.
Then one more question. So you are in this space by default. I like to call it the CSR marketing space, where there are a lot of young women in this space who are really kind of going down the wrong road, and there are very few of you that can actually set an example in this space yourself, Captain Beeman at DP World. What is it? And I actually sent you a message a while back, and you responded to me. I got a CSR crush on you.
Oh, bless you.
Yes. What is it? And I always, I pinpoint all of you. What is it that you think you can do in this space to really set an example? Because I think this whole area has gotten so abused, so muddy. When you hear foundation and you hear social responsibility, is there something you can do as a mentor?
Well, we do. I personally do a lot. So a lot. I I mean, not in terms of public speaking, and I think that's one way. So I was speaking at the CSR summit last week, you know, around how let's move away from this check writing approach and let's do something strategic and systemic. But it takes a while, you know, you've got to change the mindset of people, and still too much CSR or social investment or philanthropy is a check writing exercise rather than saying, okay, it's about creating social value. It's not about the money. Of course, you need money, but it's about creating social value. So that's a big question that you open, which I'm happy to discuss further. But in summary, I would say, you know, you just need to keep going out there in the market and talking about models that work and models that don't. And that's why I like to talk about our transition. You know, we went from being a very traditional, relatively low impact, multi-sector, hundreds of grants going out every year, to being focused on just one thing, youth development. Only 6 programs, not time bound, so those programs will go on ad infinitum until we've addressed the issues that they have. They run as social enterprises, they're run as a business, each one has a corporate scorecard. I have an aggregate way of measuring my output at the end of the year. And I think talking about that and sharing that case study with people is a good way of helping to then try and lose some of the low impact, PR driven, spending money for the sake of it stuff. But it's about mindset, right? Changing mindset just takes time.
Okay, we'll take your question and then one more after that.
Sure. Hi.
Hi.
I would like to thank you for today. Personally, I would say, I mean, I learned a lot from you. And I have a question. Actually, it's kind of a problem I'm facing. Now, coming to the point of saying to find the right people to have it as a team and work well. Yes, I managed to find the people, but the challenge is how to have the right agreement with them or have the right deal with them. It's kind of like setting up the rules for them, authorizations for them, kind of like for the long run or for the short run. Those questions come.
Are you talking about partners or employees?
No, employees.
Employees.
Yes. And there is a lot of pressure of like saying, okay, considering there is another opportunities in the market for them, and we want them at the same time, and also like being fair or not. So there is a lot, challenges.
But my simple piece of advice on that would be don't reinvent the wheel. Find somebody. So when it comes to contracts, partnerships, process, procedure, look, talent development and retention is a bigger picture. It's changing every day. How do you keep people motivated and on board? I would say that depends on your leadership, you inspiring your people to stay with you. But in terms of mechanics, if you're a startup, just go and steal, borrow, whatever, somebody else's systems and process, and then, there's no need to reinvent that stuff. So find somebody else you know who has a more mature organization, maybe somebody in your family that can give you sample templates of contracts, of systems, even automate as much as you can, anything related to people management in terms of contracts, HR, automate it. Just don't do it on your own. Don't start from scratch. I mean, ask people for help. This is the thing that often I think maybe it's good. I don't know. We don't do enough of it. So I've discovered in my career that any problem you have, you can guarantee somebody else has the same problem. So before you start to try and solve it yourself, think about who else might have had the same problem and may have already solved it. And I think you'll find it. Make that your default. Because I think there's always a tendency, if you're obviously a smart, dynamic entrepreneur, you want to go out there and solve, get things done. And maybe sometimes, we do that too quickly without saying, hang on a minute, must be a lot of other people who have the same issue and have resolved it. And that's maybe why networks like this are useful. And again, if you have, for example, if it's around institutionalizing human resources inside your startup as a challenge, pitch that as a topic for these guys and say, can we run a workshop on institutionalizing HR process and procedure inside my startup?
That's amazing. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank
You
you.
back here?
Yeah, I was gonna actually bring this topic, we're from San Francisco, and in San Francisco we see a lot of that, people like you that have this type of challenge use StartupGrind as a platform to ask help, or accelerators, or, mentors. So you can bring it up, you're not alone. A startup is like a community that if you bring this up, you're gonna find people like her that had experience and can add to your, to your success.
Sure.
So really, StartupGrind is a global community that that if you, I'm pretty sure that she can connect you to anywhere in the world that can help you with your challenge.
Right, sure, thank you.
Okay. Since that wasn't exactly a question, I'll take forward. Thank you for promoting StartupGrind.
Hello, thank you for sharing your knowledge. My name is Mustafa Al-Abadi and I have a startup in teaching Arabic.
Ah,
So,
bravo عليك.
so now I would like to know, do you benefit from speaking Arabic in your organization, in your job?
Hugely.
Okay. And what is the language in the meetings with the board of directors?
Yeah, so it's
Good
Arabic.
Arabic and good Arabic.
Arabic.
Which Arabic did you learn?
So I lived for classical Arabic university, and then I lived in Egypt, and I had كده مصري كده.
Okay.
I had an Egyptian accent, and then I lived in Palestine for 5 years. So
Okay.
هلا معي لهجة فلسطينية. بس بالشغل بحكي يعني يا انجليزي يا عربي وفلسطيني على اماراتي على
ما شاء الله عليك.
And I just started to get involved with a campaign for
تكمل عربي، عايز تكمل عربي شوية.
Well, you know, but interestingly for you, we just started a campaign called بالعربي with hashtag بالعربي. So we're getting involved, you know, Jamal bin Huwairib. I was involved with the Iqra language school. You know, used to have I have to mention you later. But I'm personally very passionate about Arabs to speak Arabic.
Okay.
Of course, foreigners as well. But we have a challenge with Arabs not teaching their children, or encouraging their children to master, not teach it, but to master their native tongue. And I'm personally very concerned about the future social implications of having Arabs who can't speak, or can speak Arabic, but can't read and write fluently. So very happy to talk to you afterwards.